Bryan K. Zickefoose. Sergeant Major Zickefoose will retire after 36 years of honorable and faithful service. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation given by Captain Robert Christian, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy, and remain standing for honors to our national colors and honors to Admiral Fowler.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, it is a joy to be able to come together to honor the service of a great American. 36 years ago, a young man from Millard North High School took an oath to support and defend our country. As an infantryman, he would travel the globe in support and defense of our great nation in a multitude of combat zones with a handful of combat action ribbons to attest. As an instructor, he molded and shaped both the officer and enlisted men and women under his charge. His leadership abilities began to define this Marine, and he was both promoted and assigned an ever-increasing cadre of responsibilities. Words like valor, as seen by the Silver Star, courage, as seen by bronze stars and combat ribbons, commitment, as seen by the lives impacted under his leadership, draw an outline of the caliber of a Marine who stands before us today. Please use this ceremony to fill in the rest of the portrait so that those that follow have a modern-day picture of a Marine with uncommon virtue. And now, a final set of orders have been issued and a Marine is going ashore. And there awaiting is Natasha, Dakota, and Tia, waiting to write some new chapters. Please bless this transition, surround them with great friends, give him wisdom as he begins a new chapter. Use this ceremony to show him the depth of our gratitude. I pray this in your name. Amen.
Now taking his position in the reviewing area is the retiring official for today's ceremony, Admiral Craig S. Fowler, Commander, United States Southern Command.
Be decorated and retired. Say in turn, march.
The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Distinguished Service Medal to Sergeant Major Bryan K. Zickefoose, United States Marine Corps, for service as set forth in the following citation. For exceptionally meritorious service to the United States in a duty of great responsibility as Command Senior Enlisted Leader, United States Southern Command, from December 2016 to August 2020. Sergeant Major Zickefoose's outstanding leadership and superb professionalism materially enhanced U.S. Southern Command's ability to accomplish its mission by ensuring stability, enhancing security, and enabling enduring partnerships. Within the headquarters staff, he fostered academic and professional achievement for all enlisted members through programs such as quarterly and annual enlisted and non-commissioned officer competitions. His personal involvement in establishing the first Joint Command Sergeant Major of the Colombian Armed Forces was a milestone, now the only billet of its kind in the U.S. Southern Command area of responsibility. His commitment to the commander's highest priority line of effort, building our team, resulted in the development of the highly acclaimed Command Senior Enlisted Leader Seminars, held at Joint Chief of Missions conferences. Sergeant Major Zickefoose's superior performance of duties culminated his 36 years of honorable, dedicated, and heroic military service to the nation. By his superior leadership, wise judgment, and deep devotion to duty, Sergeant Major Zickefoose reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service. For the President, Kenneth J. Braithwaite, Secretary of the Navy. From United States Marine Corps to Sergeant Major Bryan K. Zickefoose. Sergeant Major Bryan K. Zickefoose was transferred this date from the United States Marine Corps to the Fleet Marine Corps Reserve after 36 years of honorable and faithful service. Signed, David H. Berger, General, United States Marine Corps, Commandant of the Marine Corps. Thank you. Please be seated. Sergeant Major Zickefoose is now being presented with the United States National Ensign and a certificate of appreciation from Donald J. Trump, the Commander-in-Chief. Sergeant Major Zickefoose is also being presented with letters from the Honorable Mark T. Esper, Secretary of Defense, General James N. Mattis, United States Marine Corps retired, former Secretary of Defense, General Joseph Dunford, United States Marine Corps retired, 19th Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and 36th Commandant of the Marine Corps, General David H. Berger, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, and Sergeant Major Troy E. Black, the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, thanking him for his 36 years of service to our country and our Corps. Sergeant Major Zickefoose will now be joined by his wife, Natasha. At this time, certificates of appreciation from Admiral Craig S. Fowler, Commander, United States Southern Command, and Lieutenant General Brian D. Boudreaux, Commanding General, 2 Marine Expeditionary Force, will be presented to Mrs. Natasha Zickefoose. Ladies and gentlemen, the retiring official for today's ceremony, Admiral Craig S. Fowler, Commander, United States Southern Command.
Violating the social distancing protocols there. Thank you. And thank you, thank you all. What do you say? Just wow, what a leader, what a man, what a friend. And what a night, and thank you for coming to share your stories and to honor the service and life of Bryan Zickefoose. I think we all need a Bryan Zickefoose in our life, and anybody who's here is blessed to have him. And Tosh, you get him back. He's your Sergeant Major now. It's a joke between Tosh and I. So one of the things Sergeant Major said was, want any letters or awards read. So that was his wishes, but that's not mine. And so I did think it's important. There's a letter here from he told me to call him Jim now. His name is a guy named Mattis. I'm a little uncomfortable with that, but I called him and I asked him if he'd write a letter, and they never actually served in the same unit together, but he knows of your reputation. As soon as I connected 1+1, I had a letter in about 5 hours, and as Dave Furness knows, I had about 100 questions and taskings. But dear Sergeant Major Zickefoose, I write to pay my respects, one Marine to another. Thank you for your leadership and example in every climb and place, from your earliest days in the Corps and always gravitated to the point of danger. A rock-solid example for all hands, living up to the highest standards of the naval service. You demonstrated the traditional role of leaders to your sailors and Marines at sea and on foreign shores. Thank you for your devotion to service and for leaving our military in stronger shape. Thanks to your impact. Best wishes to you as you open next chapter, Semper Fi, Jim Mattis. General Dunford's is longer. I won't read the whole thing, but it's equally awesome. In 36 years of service, you have lived the most important traditions of our Corps: moral courage, bravery in combat, commitment to excellence, and selfless service. And you have done that in literally every climb and place, from Somalia, Kosovo, Iraq, and Afghanistan to countries across the Indo-Pacific and Southern Hemisphere. It would be impossible to put into words the impact you have had from squad leader, platoon sergeant, company, gunny, battalion, and I would just add admiral, generals, friends. In your record of accomplishment, I see the proud tradition of Dan Daly, John Basilone, Leland Crawford, Gene Overstreet, Carlton Kent, and many other Marines that immediately come to mind when I reflect what it means to be a Marine leader. As you go over this side, you can take a minute to be proud of all of you accomplished. More importantly, I hope you take satisfaction in the fact that you will shape the Corps for years to come through the leadership of the legions of Marines who have been influenced, inspired by your leadership, and you can count Joe Dunford in that group. Here's the good part. Ellen and I wish you and Natasha the very best as you transition from active service. We hope that you come by for one of your Harley adventures to Marshfield, Massachusetts, and come see us. Bravo Zulu Marine. I know. I'll get to recognizing the family here, and I'm not going to promise to be short either, but your sister said thanks for putting up for you for a couple years too, so I just want to get that out. So here's the unexpected one. So Secretary of Defense Esper came to the headquarters, and one of the things he likes to do is PT with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines. So I was like, he wants to PT with the commander, and they said no, not particularly, but the Sergeant Major's welcome. I was happy with that. So what I learned during the PT is the Secretary Esper out PT'd Sergeant Major on a particular event. So I learned this quickly. I had many sources fill me in from their 5:30 a.m. PT. And so when the Secretary got out of the car after he'd gone back to his hooch, probably wasn't a hooch, to change and get ready for the event, I immediately asked Secretary of Defense about this in front of Sergeant Major. And there is an awesome, epic picture of me asking SecDef with a goofy face. SecDef, you can't see, but it's in this book. You can see it afterwards. SecDef laughing and Sergeant Major giving that grin, and then you got the Sergeant Major hands. No, this is what happened. See? See, Mr. Secretary, you cheated. And so I took that. I got that photo and I sent it to SecDef, and he signed it, but then he wrote a letter too, which we didn't ask him for because he remembers that, and he didn't put anything about the cheating in the letter. Congratulations on your 36 years of distinguished service to our nation. Throughout your career, spanning every infantry billet from rifleman to senior enlisted advisor, you have embodied the core values of the U.S. Marine Corps. During more than 10 deployments, I actually think it's 11, including combat tours in Somalia, Kosovo, Iraq, Afghanistan, and just repeat those last two countries over. You established yourself as a true warrior and hero. Most recently, as Southern Command Senior Enlisted, you serve as a principal advisor to the commander, working to improve operational efficiency communication among the officer and enlisted ranks, as well as across multiple component commands and task force. Thank you for your steadfast commitment to serving our nation. Lee and I send you our warmest wishes for a well-deserved retirement and our sincere appreciation to you and Natasha. So to do that unsolicited, I think, says a lot. It says a lot about the impact he made on the Secretary of Defense in 1 hour, and you know what I'm talking about, my fine friends. And so I just want to say that tonight's about saying thanks to his service, recognized in service, but we know it didn't happen without the family right there. And we know how long and how many times your dad deployed. And I want to start with your mom and dad. So Linda and Zick, thank you for raising a good son. You should be proud. Tonight this is your accomplishment too. What the values you instilled in him made a difference. I know he didn't always come through. Sometimes when you ask him to cut a Christmas tree a certain length and he decided to go his own way and cut the tree in half. But those of us who have served with him know that that's part of his charm and his aurora as well. Zick, I know that if you could talk about his career and boil down to a few words, I think it's love. It's love of his Marines and his team. It's commitment. It's courage. And it's making a difference. Making a difference. Honor just ties it all together. But he's committed and he's courageous, but he gets a little hurt in the cold, right, Zick? I think there's a couple long Nebraska nights where you and him crawled in the same sleeping bag together because the sergeant major was a little too cold. But Zick, thank you. Don't worry, Dakota shared that with me. But thank you for raising an awesome son. It's just amazing. Kelsey, thank you for putting up with him as your sister, and you should be equally proud. I mean, I know what it's like to have sisters, but this is much about the family values, and thank you. Dakota and Tia, thank you. And I know, and talking to Dakota, well, first of all, he was a little confused when I called him on whether it was the retirement or the change of office. We got that straight, Dakota. But Dakota's like once I got him, he goes, I can't really think of anything. Hey, there was this time. He goes, my dad's kind of sappy. He gets kind of sappy at things. And that's one of the things I love about him. And he said, and then he told me a couple stories, and I asked my wife if those were appropriate. She said, no, please don't repeat those. and then he gave you like the Super Bowl champion trophy for dads, World Series trophy. He said, I'm so proud of him. I couldn't think or conceive of a better dad in all the world. I'm like, man, that's the gold standard that I want. I think I could stop right there. I won't, but that's just amazing. And thank you, Dakota and Tia, for the service, for being all those times away and deployed, and for being a strong, resilient family for all of you. Our family serve too. We recruit Marines. We retain them because of the support and the love they get and encouragement from their families. Tasha, thank you. You've been a great friend for the last couple years. I always like to tell her, hey, your sergeant major's coming home. She's not my sergeant major. He's my Bryan. Well, you got your Bryan back, and his Spanish is about on par with mine. So Bryan, Z, for the longest time thought LA Fitness was La Fitness, and his Spanish was coming along pretty good. But that's a true story. True story. Don't honor my Spanish either. But thank you. You've been so good for the command and for Martha and I and the Rock for Z. And I know things you wrote about him and how caring and compassionate is about people is what truly brings that out to all of us. But you bring that out in him. So thank you for your service too. So the family speaks volumes to that caring, commitment, courageous, and make a difference person. But some of you did as well. And when I was conducting turnover with Admiral Tidd, and the turnover was in classic Admiral Tidd's fashion, well organized, right to the point. He said, Sergeant Major Zickefoose, you're going to love them, and you should keep them. And he was exactly right. So thank you for laying that out, Admiral Tidd. And my first phone call was to General Neller, and he said, if he'll say yes, I'll say yes, and you can extend him a year. And the Sergeant Major said yes. So commitment. I don't think you've ever said no to any mission in your whole life. You've been committed to every Marine and family in this room and every one that you've served. But there are cracks in that commitment armor. I've seen them. So I don't know if any of you have been hunting with Sergeant Major Zickefoose. So if you go hunting with Sergeant Major Zickefoose, it's a focused hunting operation. I had the honor last year. I also had the honor of owning the land that we hunted on, and as his superior, I couldn't ask him to do any maintenance or work on the land, but I could suggest that this list of projects might need to get done over the next 7 days. So, and I gave him first dibs at the list, and he circled the one that involved the chainsaw. So he took the chainsaw, and I showed him what to do, and I volunteered to move the logs. And I anticipated about a 3-hour project. After about an hour, the chainsaw stopped, and Sergeant Major's in the garage. He goes, your chainsaw is a piece of... And he goes, it's getting late, and I got to go hunting. And that chainsaw is still sitting there in that same position, broken in my garage. And those logs never got cut. And he didn't get a deer either, so I think he got cursed. But that commitment, though, is rock solid where it matters, and it's in the things that are so important in life. And Dave Furness sent me an entire storybook. In fact, I served with Dave Furness for 2 years when we worked as legislative chiefs for Marine Corps Navy. And I've seen you more tonight than I did for those 2 years, Dave, so good to see you. And nice to meet you, Ms. Furness. I don't know where he was during those days, but I could never find him. But Dave wrote some just wonderful things about courage in battle and being at the point of attack and commitment to the Marines. And it wasn't actually the stories about always looking for the right position for the firefight. It was what happened afterwards. It was about sitting with Marines and corpsmen, sailors, and talking to them about what's next and about life's challenges. And it was investing the time no matter what time of day. And Dave, your words touch me. I won't read them all, but thank you for sharing that story, and thank you for sharing the Marine. But I will read what Sergeant Major Fry, where are you, Sergeant Major Fry? Thank you for sending this. I will read this from the same deployment to Afghanistan. From Sergeant Major William Fry, Spartan 9. I can't do this justice without reading it. I could tell you a ton of stories about Sergeant Major Zickefoose, both personally and professionally, but I think I'd be more fitting I write on behalf of the Battalion of Marines of Spartans who had the honor and privilege to serve and fight along one of the Marine Corps' finest combat leaders to kit up in 50 years, Sergeant Major Bryan Zickefoose. I feel very confident I can speak on behalf of the roughly 1,600 Marine sailors and soldiers that operated in 2nd Battalion, 6th Marine AOR in Marja, Afghanistan, the bleeding ulcer of Helmand Province during the summer and fall of 2010. During this time, the battalion would encounter some of the fiercest fighting to date during the global war on terror. For us, it was a godsend to have Sergeant Major Z as our regimental sergeant major. He was undoubtedly a combat force multiplier, and I can honestly say we could not have accomplished our mission without him. His guidance and combat leadership were invaluable. He, without a doubt, had the respect of every Marine in the battalion, not only because he was combat proven, but because he was blood related and alumni of the Ready Battalion. As you know, the term leader is a title that is earned and validated by action. And Marines expect their leaders' actions to speak louder than their words. Sergeant Major Z was a man of action. And when he spoke, Marines listened. So do admirals. He always took the time to talk to every Marine, whether it was on patrol, at a memorial service for a fallen angel, which he never missed. He knew how to connect with the individual Marine, sailor, soldier in a way that they felt that genuinely cared, because he does, because he loves us. He always took the time to share the hardship of the Marines by visiting them in patrol bases, fighting holes, mechanized vehicles, tasked with driving the most IED-laden roads in the world. It was not uncommon to find Z out on patrol in the firefights with squads in the most dangerous blocks in our AO. Marines often referred to him as a bullet magnet. Probably something you want to hear, parents, because it seemed like the enemy always popped up when he was around, and the Marines absolutely loved it. They loved the fact that the enemy had a death wish. He often took the time to spend the night with those squads who may have lost a Marine the same day. I've personally never seen Sergeant Major Z not lead from the front. I think everybody in the room feels the same. It's positively impacted thousands, and those he impacted will carry the Marine Corps well into the 21st century. And I'll tell you why. That's the Commandant of the Marine Corps, Secretary of the Navy, approved an award higher than they have for any combatant command senior enlisted. And surprised me with that tonight as much as he was surprised. And I thank the Commandant because I called him on the phone and he made it happen. I personally, like many others, consider Bryan a mentor, friend, and brother, and I would without hesitation go to hell and back with him and need to jump on a hand grenade for him. In my humblest opinion, he will go down in history, some of the best. Signed, Sergeant Major John Quick, Sergeant Major Dan Daly, Gunny Sergeant Carlos Hathcock, and Sergeant Major Chuck Mahowini, to name a few. Yeah, I don't think it gets better than that. So, there are other things, though, we got to bring out. In travel, where's General Lukeman? General Lukeman, thank you for coming, sir. Thank you for your 5-volume set of stories that you sent in. So those that have traveled, Sergeant Major Z, know that there's some things you gotta work through. One of them is we're not really sure, Linda and Zick, what state he's from. So if you're with people from Nebraska, he's from Nebraska, but there's not very many people out there from Nebraska. So wherever I'd go with him, General, I was appreciative that you put that in there. We'd see very few hands. If he knew we were coming with a bunch of people from Iowa, suddenly he would be from Iowa. So when we would go see Senator Ernst on the Hill, he was then from Iowa. And so I was confused, and I was glad that you validated that I'm not the only one. I've also seen him kind of claim that he's from Florida since he spent the last 3 years there, and I'm not sure why. And now he's starting to claim that he's from Maine. So we got a little... So it's honorable, I think. And but thanks, General, for your stories. I know he tried to drown you once on a river trip. Travel. Where's Master Chief Johnson? Master Chief Johnson. I've heard this story about 8 times over because he keeps the Sergeant Major keeps forgetting me. He tells me this story about how he tried to lose you in a snowstorm at the top of a mountain by handing you a set of skis and then skiing off and you didn't know how to ski, and he didn't tell you where the Marines were. So God bless you. God bless you, and I know he loves you as much as you love him.
Hey, sir, the other thing on that is I have bad cramps in my thighs. You wouldn't rub them out.
Well, that's because he had a bad experience in the same sleeping bag with his father. I think, where's Master Guns Hampton? Where's Andy Hampton? Yeah, so you wrote in a nice thing too, but you know, it's such a simple thing, but it's so true, and it's, when you came into 2nd Marine Division, and you have a keen sense for the human dimension without any spoken word. Sergeant Major Z sensed that you need to get the G-Shop chiefs together with Sergeant Major chiefs, so they were all coming together, and I think there's there's a lot of E9s in the division, and you said, Andy, come sit next to me, which I guess breaks some kind of biblical law amongst Sergeant Majors and G-Shop chiefs, but it set a standard for friendship and teamwork that when you look about caring and commitment and courage, sometimes courage is exercised in ways that aren't on the battlefield. It's about doing the right thing when everybody else tells you it's not the thing to do. And that thing made a mark, enough of a mark that Andy sent a nice note in it, and it was fitting for who you are, Z. So thank you, Sergeant Major. Lots of stories, 36 years, 11 deployments, Sergeant Major of recruiting, Sergeant Major of battalion, Sergeant Major for regiment, Sergeant Major of a division, Sergeant Major of a force, Sergeant Major, senior enlisted for a combatant command, instructor. Your entire life has been devoted to teaching, leading, drill instructor, sniper instructor, NCO, OCS. You've given to this nation. You've given to everyone in this room. Your stories serve us. Thank you on behalf of this nation. You know, John F. Kennedy said every person should make a difference and everyone must try. You've made a difference. You epitomize what making a difference is, shipmate. You have impacted all of us, made us better, impacted nations, helped our nation remain the #1 nation, and helped your Corps maintain being the gold standard of Marine Corps. Sergeant Major Zickefoose, you define caring, commitment, courage, and leadership and friendship. And we are all blessed to have known you, my friend. And we will continue to be blessed because you may be stepping out of active duty, but we're going to come find you. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Z.
I don't know who you're talking about, but that's some great stuff. You honor me, sir. Can you hear me? So, I'm going to start up here and then I'm kind of move around a little bit. First of all, I don't know who Admiral Fowler was talking about up here. You know, there's some great stories there. I have to elaborate a little bit more. You know, like sleeping with my dad in a sleeping bag, and when I was a Boy Scout, we're sitting on a cement floor, and it was very cold that night. Very cold, and we're the only ones that stuck it out. So, Dad, it's always a pleasure to share a sleeping bag with you. I'm honored to do that. The other thing was, you know, I got to rebuttal on some of these stories. I better stop real fast. I'll start the rebuttal in a little bit, but I better put my glasses on. So, Admiral, thanks, one. You know, I don't know who you're talking about, but it's been an honor and privilege to serve with you during this time, and you know, I can't talk. I'll talk more about you later, but you know, thanks for coming to retire me today, and thanks for all you coming here and be part of this day with me. It's been an honor. This day's not about me. It's really about me thanking you all for what you've done for me. I think it's very important that, you know, it's not about a retirement. It's about you know, my family, and you are all part of my family every day. And, you know, I'll say that I'm not going to say I'm going to miss you, because I'm going to bug the shit out of you in one way, shape, or form. You know, come see me. Come see me and Tosh up in Maine, and you know, hopefully I'll have a couple snowmobiles. I already got a side-by-side. You know, we're gonna do some fun things out there. We're gonna enjoy life, and it's after 36 years, it's what it's about, enjoying life. You know, I've enjoyed life all the way up here. I was talking to you know, the combat camera when I walked in here, and I said to him, I said, hey, when it's not fun, it's time to get out. Well, it's not time to get out for me. It's just I ran out of jobs. You know, if they let me stay longer, I probably would. But it's time. It's, you know, you get out one or two ways. You get out happy or you get out angry. And I think it's important that we all get out happy. And so I'm not going to cry tonight, because this is a happy day for me. Some of you are calling bullshit on that already. So with that being said, hey, protocol has beat me up for the last 36 years about doing the right thing and being a welcome our general officers, flag officers, our officers, our Sergeant Major Marine Corps. Hey, it's been an honor. Thanks for coming here. It means a lot to me, brother. Sergeant Majors, Master Gunnery Sergeants, our gunners. You know, I can't talk enough about gunners. I love gunners for some reason. You know, sergeant majors and gunners don't get along sometimes. I don't think I ever had that problem. I don't think I ever did. Ops chief once. But once he found out I was a grunt, he was good to go. I don't understand that. My friends, you know, of course my friends, everybody's my friend in here. And then, of course, my family. It's in, you know, I put some stress on my family before I came in the Marine Corps, but I guarantee I put a lot more stress on after I came in the Marine Corps. My mom thinks I got like 9 lives. So I think I probably used about 9.5 of them at times. So a special thanks to the protocol office here at the MEF. General Boudreau, thanks for allowing this to happen here. General Alford, it's you know, this is your house. So I appreciate it, sir. Thanks for letting me get in here. The division band, they're gonna, you know, I'm gonna make them play a couple songs probably afterwards, and then it's our money.
Sergeant Major.
It's been an honor. Thanks for coming here and doing this for me.
I'm honored, sir.
Sergeant Major Travis, Sergeant Major Krause, I don't know, Lonnie back there in the back, thanks for making this happen. Sergeant Major Krause, where you at? So if you didn't know it, he's one of my recruits, so if he's jacked up, it's my fault. So with that being said, you know, so just come back from RCT1, and we had a division meeting with the division sergeant major, and I'm sitting there, and this guy, I walk in, and this sergeant major gets up and goes, "Sergeant Major." I'm like, yeah. So, hey, I was one of your recruits. He's the CEB sergeant major. I can't even believe it. You know, you move fast, brother. I'm proud of you, okay? Sergeant Major Hernandez, I don't think he's here tonight, but he did big part of this, making this thing happen today. Lisa Gardner. So, hey, coming down here from, U.S. Southern, coming up here from U.S. Southern Command. I know you had some family issues, and hey, I love you. Thanks for doing this for us. You know, I can't talk enough about you. She used to be the MLG protocol officer. I used to piss her off like you can't believe. And I probably done that enough at Southcom too. So thanks for putting up with me for a lot of years. So there was probably a young colonel back then. He used to talk about 3 leadership principles. And those 3 leadership principles were, well, I'll tell you who it is. It was at that time Colonel Dunford. And he used to say, there's 3 leadership principles. He says, surround yourself with good MF, good dudes, good people. And then he said, I don't remember the other 2 principles were. I've used those 2 principles all my life. In reality, is that surround yourself with good people. And that's very important. If you have good Marines, sailors, airmen, coasties, people around you to take care of you, family, you will do good. And this is why I'm not even saying I'm successful, but I've relied on the people around me to do the right thing all the time and help me get through things, everything. So I can honestly say the only thing I really did good was I graduated boot camp. Boot camp was probably, I don't know if my family thought I was really going to graduate boot camp in reality. So, I had no real family background of any kind of military background. And the only piece of advice I ever got was, don't volunteer for shit. So that's the advice I went through boot camp. I was the guy in the back, cleaning the back window, in the back of the squad bay every time I got a chance. And drill instructor would walk by, and I'd be like cleaning the back window. I ended up being the high PFTer and one of the high shooters of the company. And I really thought I was going to get promoted, but it didn't happen. I walked across that grinder as a private. So I learned a valuable lesson that I must, it's kind of like stand out in a crowd. So, from then on, it's like, hey, surround yourself with good people and stand out as much as you can every day. So my mother and father, I went to the Marine recruiter, and the recruiter came to my house and he wanted, basically to sign a contract. I was too young. I was 17 years old. And my mom was like, no way, we're not doing this thing. She called my dad up, and my dad goes, well, sign it, man, let him go. And next thing you know, I'm in boot camp. And boy, was I in a shock there. But being roll call number 79 was easy. I could still clean that back window as much as possible. But my grandmother, she died in 2017. So I really thought she would be here today, part of this retirement. And she was there at my graduation day. She turned 95, and she would have been 96 years old in 2017 in December. And if I would have retired before coming here, she would have been at my actual retirement ceremony. But I want to tell you a story. It's kind of weird. I'm going to make Lisa cry. So my grandmother made a Christmas ornament for me every year since I was 1 year old. So every Christmas, now I got a lot of Christmas ornaments, right? Because I'm 53 years old. I think I'm 53. And but she died a couple years back, so I guess I don't have 53. But
So she died, I think it was October, is that right? September, October? And when the day she went to the hospital, she took all the Christmas warrants for all the grandkids, all the great-grandkids, and she might have great-great-grandkids now before she died. She made Christmas warrants for everybody the day she went to the hospital. She called her siblings up and told her that she's going to check herself into the hospital. She went to the hospital. Within that week, she says, tonight's the night, and she died. But December 20, that Christmas, I opened up a box of Christmas gifts for my mom. I just threw them in a box, and I'm not too luckily we had a Christmas tree up. And I opened it up, and there's one for my grandmother. I open it up, and there's a Christmas ornament. So I thought that was pretty exciting for me. But I wish she was here with us today.
So I'm going to kind of go through a bunch of people in here and kind of talk about each one. I got stories for about everybody. I won't talk about everybody's story because some of them probably are not repeatable. But I'm going to start off about Staff Sergeant Rosenfeld, now Sergeant Major Rosenfeld. I showed up to barracks duty in Yorktown, Virginia, and I get this staff sergeant. He was like crushing me at the cyclic rate. But he taught me a lot. He taught me what it was to be a Marine. He was compassionate, but he was also hard as nails. And later on, I didn't realize that I'd be golfing with him as a sergeant major, and he'd be still counseling me
Every chance he got. We talked about, we were introducing women into the division. And he talked about how the race problem we had within the Marine Corps early on, and how it's no different. And it was important that he brought those things up, and he helped me mentor my way through some of those things at the division. So Larry, I appreciate it.
Colonel Mellinger, he's not here. I don't think I'd even seen him. He was one of my first platoon commanders. First platoon commander when we went to the infantry battalion. I came in as a cocky lance corporal coming off barracks duty thinking I knew everything. I didn't know nothing about it being an infantryman. But I learned fast and hard. He made me one of his radio operators and kind of took me under his wing, and I got to learn and understand what it was to be an infantryman. Became a squad leader, became a fire team leader, squad leader, kind of worked my way up. Seemed like I always carried the saw for some reason, even as a fire team leader. God, I hate that thing. But in reality, he was a very important part of my life, and he took care of me. I had a platoon sergeant when I went to the Scout Sniper platoon, actually a sergeant. And we ended up going he became the platoon sergeant for our Scout Sniper platoon. And I followed him around, and he was my mentor for years, all the way up through, as a staff sergeant. And I followed him around till I was a staff sergeant. Went to the drill field after him, went to sniper school after him. Then he went to Camp David. I actually got an interview to Camp David, but I had already had orders down to Camp Lejeune, so they wouldn't let me go, which I was kind of glad because I want to get back to an infantry battalion. But that sergeant was a guy named Sergeant Barrett. Later became the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. I followed him around for years, and he taught me a lot. Whenever I needed something, he was always there in my corner. I've had many battle buddies over the years. A guy named Kilpatrick. I called him Kill. We killed some tanks together back in the Gulf War. That's another story. But he followed me out into that fog that day, and I didn't know he was there. Thank God he was, because when I hit that first tank, the second tank started shooting at me, and he hit the second one just as hard as I hit the first one. So, Kill, I don't know where you're at these days. I've tried to reach out to him for many years. He's like dropped off the face of the earth. I think he's doing some CIA spooky stuff, but who knows. So I had another guy named Matt Shimmick. So we had a pack.
Where's Gunner at? Wade. Where you at, Gunner?
We can do a gunner package right now. There's like 17 generals sitting there.
So Matt Shimmick was is in my Scout Sniper platoon. We had this pack. If we ever got in trouble, we'd go to French Foreign Legion. So one night, we almost went to the Legion. I'll leave that story alone. But I don't know what we got away with, but it was a bad night. And Gunner knows the whole story, and I won't put it on because we're in divots, so it might be a bad thing to put out.
Then I had this guy named Tim Powers, who was like the MacGyver of, everything of our platoon. He could make anything. He was a baker before he came in the Marine Corps. He could fix anything. He could do anything. So we drove, I think, 28 clicks up to the border. We used to do all these operations with a compass and a map. We had one GPS in the whole battalion. General Donovan was on the other side of us at that time. He had the only GPS. He wouldn't give me one. So we did everything by miles, and he'd do, convert kilometers to miles, and I don't know how he did it at that time, but I figured it out since then. But in reality is he was smart. He'd do everything on a grease pencil on the windshield. He just made things happen. And I sat in the turret and freaking gave him compass readings all the way up. We were pretty accurate at 28 clicks. We were only freaking less than 50 meters off our objective every time we did it. We were really good at it. So Tim, wherever you are, I know he's doing some contract work, still working hard for his family out there. Part of our sniper days in 3-9. Steve Thomas, Paul McKenna, my drill field days. We walked a line there that, but we never crossed the line. And it's important that you never do. We got to remember, we got to walk the line and make sure we do the right thing all the time, even when nobody's looking. And I probably drove my company commander and series officer nuts. In reality, one day I threw a footlocker across the squad bay and hit a recruit in the shin. The next day at PT, the series officer's walking through and goes, "What happened to your shin?" And the recruit yells, "Sir, the drill instructor threw a footlocker at me." "Really?" I go, "I actually threw a footlocker at you, right?" He goes, "No, it hit the freaking pylon and bounced off and hit you in the leg." Series officer walked off, but I did get a counseling for that. So I did walk the line there. I went to sniper school in Quantico, ran the school for a while, but right behind Mike Barrett, and then this guy named Gunny Owens. Gunny Owens was a machine. He was like the gunny that you always wanted to be. So like one morning I'm coming to work at like 5:30 in the morning. We get students on deck, and I see this guy running down the road with a big pack on, with a 50 cal sniper rifle on his backpack. I'm like, I almost run him off the road. And so I go around and I come in, and then about 10 minutes later, the gunny runs in and he's got his backpack on. I'm like, Gunny, what are you doing? He's like, "Oh, I didn't know how we hump this thing." He ran up to Camp Upshur from the range. That guy was a machine. Not to say that one day he's on the treadmill in a gas mask, and he's running, and he looks to the right or left, and he gets shot out by the treadmill. He jumps back on the treadmill, and gets shot back out again. It was like the funniest thing I ever seen in my life. So he works for FN now. Some of you guys probably know him, Gunny Owens. So old sergeant majors like Trescott, Poland, Hemsworth, Barrett, Ditas, Bush, Sergeant Major Rosenfeld, McCurry, not so old, Van Ostrom. You're still old, man. In reality is Grant was always there for me. He was the most personal sergeant major I've ever worked for. He knew how to, I won't say manipulate you, but he would figure out how to make you do things that he wanted you to do. You were great at it. Grant, where you at, Grant? You were great at it. It made it like I wanted to do it, so it always worked out. Grant, you're the great man. Will Fry, or Bill, I call you Will. I don't know why everybody calls you Bill, but I like Will better. You talked about, those times in Marja, the bleeding ulcer. It was supposed to be all a good day, and then as the Ospreys came in, and me and General Furness, or Colonel Furness at the time, were sitting there, and they're getting shot at coming in. That was a bad day. But in reality is, you know, those were great times. One of the best times I ever had. You know, 2-6 was my battalion. And when 2-6, I got to serve as a regimental sergeant major for 2-6, I loved going out there and see those guys. I actually saw a kid from Nebraska, and I actually went and saw him when I came back home on leave. So, Sure, Brett Sure, another thing, another great man, freaking myth. If I can say anything about Will Fry or Brett Sure, they always said yes. You know, if I needed something as a sergeant major, you know, as the MEF sergeant major or a division sergeant major, they never stopped. They would never question me. You know, I asked Brett to become one of the MU sergeant majors had some medical problems, and I asked him to take over. And he just got back, and he freaking jumped right on the boat and went right back on the boat. Brett, thanks, brother. Hoop, where you at, brother? Not yet, Coop. Coop and Hoop, it's kind of the same thing. But Hoop, we changed battle spaces many times. I first met you when you were 6th Marines. I think you were radio chief there. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? And little did I know that we would change. In Fallujah, we changed over. I was coming in after your company. And then as a regimental sergeant major, you came in after me. And we shared the same battle space many times, my brother. Freaking, you left me good things, and hopefully I left you good things back. Thanks. Lee Bonner, where you at, brother? You're the man. I love you. Mayo, always making things happen. Behind the scenes, always doing things. Leva, Reef, Griffin, Griff, where you at? Roger. Hey, you're like my little brother. Even though you're bigger than me, I still kick your ass. There's no way I can kick his ass. So we went through, he got me through, well, I think he just probably put me through tan belt. I had to do green belt later because I think I got broke off. But Griff, you're the man. I appreciate it. You know, you're a machine, and you're at the right place where you're supposed to be at right now. Continue to grow and do great things, my man. Team Newcomb, you're always welcome. Come up and ride with us. Pearsons, you know. So the story is, so Tosh and I went riding one time. We found this trail, and we decided we're going to take these 2 other riders on it. So we're mountain biking up the Nakasaki Trail. Was that what it was? Nusiak Trail up by Cherry Point. So we invite CJ and another guy, I can't remember who it was at that time, and we freaking rode hard. And that was a hard ride. We would end up 22, 25 miles on the mountain bikes. And I think we started off pretty fast, and we started a lot slower at the end, but it was a good ride. Armor Trout, I don't know if you're here. I don't know if he is, but freaking another bicycle rider, good hard rider. Mesker, appreciate what you do. CLB, I first met you out there. You ran the CLB like you're supposed to. Kraus, I already told you everybody that you were one of my recruits, not my poolee, thank God. I didn't do too good with poolies, but I was terrible with poolies. Lunsford, where you at? There you go. Freaking, you guys are always a part of the family. Continue to do great things up there. It's more %, you know. You have some great opportunities out there. I know you're working hard. The Robinsons, love you guys. Yoey, he's not here, but he called me up and he goes, hey, I think I got exposed. I'm like, really? So I hate to say this, but I told him it's probably a smart move if you stay home. Somebody's going to I don't want to be blamed for you getting everybody sick here. So in reality, he did the right thing, I think. Bradford took over the division for me. Where you at, Dave? Hoorah, brother. McGovern, always there in my corner, man. Thank you. Still serving Marines every day. Sergeant Major Marine Corps, 16th Sergeant Major Marine Corps, Barrett, Green, Black. You guys all did great things for us. Thanks, man. Continue to freaking grow the Corps. You know, we're in a tough time. We're doing different things. We just got to keep on growing. making things good. Master Gunnery Sergeants. My first Master Gunnery Sergeant I'm talking about is Andy Hampton. I was going through a hard time in my life, very hard time. There's a lot of people who knew it. Will Fry, Schuer, freaking Van Ostrom, freaking you all are in my corner, all in my corner. But Andy, you made the difference every day for me. Always came up and checked on me, always. You know, I had my armor up and freaking, I never let it down, but you knew when I was freaking, I needed that freaking extra push, brother. Thank you. Scotty, you got a great man. And Logan's doing great things. I'm proud of him. He's, you know, hope to see him do great things and continue to grow as a man. Otto's not here, but Amber and Otto, great warriors too. Make sure you say something to him, Griff. Make sure I thank him for me. Command Master Chiefs. I can't talk enough about them. You know, Tater Johnson. Let me just go backtrack a little bit on this thing. So we go up to the mountains
And we end up flying in. We get all our gear from Bridgeport. I'm an old Winter Mountain Leader guy. And Tater, I said, hey, we'll just go up the mountain. We'll see all the battalion, then come back the same day. So we get our gear the day before, pack, skis. He's like, do we need snowshoes? I said, no, we need skis. We're not getting on snowshoes. And sure enough, we fly in a 46 up there, and the 46 drops us off, and we're post holing like freaking in 4 foot of snow up in one of the LZs up there. I put my skis on, and I go, Tater, I'll meet you down over there. I never even told him how to put his skis on. So my mountain leader, when I went up there, he did the same thing to me. He just said, he just put us, hey, figure it out, and I'll meet you down here. So he finally about, I don't think it was an hour, maybe 2 hours, and he finally got down there. It was a little bit of a hump, right? So he comes up, he's got his backpack on, he's got his skis on his shoulder, and he's post-holing like, it's only like 400, 500 yards out, but it took him about an hour to get there. And so I teach him how to put his skis on, and it's icy on the road, and I said, hey, go up there and ski down. So he goes up there and skis down and falls down. And he does that, and he goes, hey, you got to teach me how to stop. I said, don't worry about it. So I put skins on them. If you don't know what skins are, they go on the bottom of skis to help you slide go up and down hills. I still didn't teach him how to stop. And we did like 25, 26 miles that day on skis. We saw every company in the battalion, and I even got to the scout skiers way up there. And I will tell you that I actually fell down in front of the scout skiers, and they gave me shit about it. But in reality is, you know, we got off that hill that night, and we're in the rack, we're sleeping, and Tater wakes up in the middle of the night screaming, my leg, I got a cramp. He's like, help me. I'm like, I ain't touching your legs. I'm still not going to touch your legs. So me and Tater actually met in Dwyer, Camp Dwyer was part of RCT-1 when he was Division Forward, right? Was it Division Forward? Meb? No, before that, after that. Yeah. So 2 MEF forward with General Toolan, right? And so, you know, I'm in there, Sergeant Major Jones was in there, and he comes up to me after I got done talking to Sergeant Major Jones, and this guy comes up and gives me a hug and a kiss. I'm like, who is this guy? He goes, I love you, brother, and he walked off. I never figured that out until later in life. So if you want to know the rest of the story, you got to come see me. So Russ Foley, he's a great man. Jody Fletcher, Jody, I think you're in here, right? Another freaking great man, freaking Command Master Chiefs of the Navy, doing great things on our green side. Tammy Heap, another person that freaking did great things for our green side sailors.
Commanders. Captain Denicky, he's not here, but he was my company commander in boot camp, and my first commander, company commander in 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines. Another great man. He was a Leftwich Trophy recipient. He taught us how to. He used to call us Denicky's Thousand Thieves. One night we're going up against a Ranger battalion in 29 Palms, and you know how it works. Marines have like 10 blanks. The Ranger battalion had all unlimited blanks they can have. Artillery simulators, grenade, bodies, everything. So they're attacking us up this hill, and we have 10 blanks. So what is there a lot of in 29 Palms? Rocks. So we literally kicked the Ranger battalion off that hill that day with rocks. We blooded them up pretty bad. And the company commander, they actually flew the company commander, a helicopter out to the company commander, and picked him up. And it's bad when they make them drive back though, right? From Levick's Lake. So he drove back, he got us all in formation, and and I'm waiting for this serious ass chewing, and he goes, that's what I'm talking about. That's how Marines win battles. We could do no wrong with that company commander, so Captain Denicky. Later I saw him as he turned out to be a reserve officer and a colonel in 1st Mardiv somewhere in there. He's a great man. Captain Matt Beal. I can't talk enough about you, sir. We did some great things we went on the Mew. Colonel Walsh, or Captain Walsh at the time, and we kept everybody in freaking safe, and we did great things. You went on to do better things as a company commander later, and I'm proud of you, sir. Thanks for being here today. It means a lot to me. Colonel Fitzpatrick. When I first met Colonel Fitzpatrick, I was like, I don't know if I like this guy. I've met him all the years. When he was at the division, MEF, 1st Mardiv, 2nd Mardiv, I met him everywhere. But when he became the chief of staff of the division, hey, I cannot ask for a better chief of staff. He knew how to make things work. So I appreciate it, sir. Appreciate what you did for us. Colonel Cohen, you got 2-6. Don't screw it up, sir. I love that battalion, and I know you'll do great things with them. I'm proud to be part of it. And if you ever need anything from some kind of 2-6 loving, I'm here for you, sir. Definitely. So over the years our paths have crossed, and you've always been a great leader. So I appreciate what you do for your Marines, sir, every day. So Captain Trevor Hall, company commander, now colonel, has the Mew. So he came to 2-6 Echo, and he already had first sergeants. So he kind of taught me really how to be a first sergeant without teaching me how to be a first sergeant. He let me be me and do things that what I thought was right, and I think we did a good job, sir. Where are you at, sir? I love you, sir. We did some great things. We just had to keep Lieutenant Mayo from losing his rifle a few times. But it was a good time, sir. So we spent some time in Iraq together. Thanks a lot, sir. Captain Pinion. Lieutenant Colonel Pinion, where are you at, sir? So we spent a lot of time. We went into Fallujah together in 05, 06, and Snyder, Barbosa, Jacobs, Lumsford, and Brown. 5 Marines we lost. Probably the hardest, probably 7 months of my life, right? When you lose anybody on the battlefield, it's hard, right? But I learned more about leadership those days than I probably ever did in my life. So Brown Brown, some of you heard me talk about Brown before. Brown was a kid that freaking I really wanted to strangle every day. And, I mean, literally one day I put him in the corner and put him in timeout. I probably shouldn't even say that. I'd probably go to jail. But the reality is, he was a guy that, actually taught me a lot. And he became my hero. We lost Brown in January of 06 in a firefight. He was killed by a sniper. And, that day I didn't even recognize him when we pulled him off the street. But I learned a valuable lesson. Every Marine comes in for one reason, to do great things. That's it. They don't come in to do drugs or get in trouble. They come in to do great things. And that's, if I could leave you with one thing today, is remember every Marine deserves a chance, and they come in to do great things. So Brown's my hero. I talk about him every chance I get. Matter of fact, he's made me a better man, I think. For him, I thank him. Major Chalkley, RS Major Chalkley, now Brigadier General Chalkley. I'm just glad we left each other when it was the right time, sir. You may not be a general anymore, sir. No, in reality, we were on recruiting duty, and it was a hard life. Oklahoma City back then was hard. We were making mission every other month, not every month. And matter of fact, when I showed up, changed over, we made mission that month, and the district CO, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, came to me and says, he's like, I don't know who you are, but you better make this thing happen. It was like, man, you put me on the spot right away. But we made it. We turned the ship in over a year, and we were making mission every day, every month, and actually early. And that was a time when we're in the plus up. It was tough. Those Marines fought to do the right thing and make things happen every day. And I think it's a lot because of your leadership, sir. Thank you, sir. That's one reason why you're probably Brigadier General now. Hoorah, sir. I got to talk about General Donahue. When I first got to 1st Marine Regiment, I checked in. I had Sergeant Major was like 6'7". Colonel Donahue at the time was like 6'5", 6". Colonel Savage, the XO, was like 6 foot whatever. And I was like, man, am I going to fit around here? I'm only 5'10". But when he got selected for general that day, that was probably the hardest day of his life, giving up the regiment. But when that happened, though, I got General Furness. And General Furness came in, and we had a great time, sir. Our first trip, we hadn't been there a whole week, and we went up to Bridgeport and saw the Marines up there, and I just knew that we were going to click. It was something that came together right away. So we took the regiment out to RCT, made it RCT-1, and we took to Afghanistan for a year. Matter of fact, 2-6 was waiting for us when we got there. And I lost 2 Marines already in 2-6 that were in my former company, and they were waiting to do the memorial before I got there. So it just kind of set the example all the way through where we should be at. The regiment was good. It's one of the best units I was ever in, and a lot of it had to do with you, sir. You made things right every time. You knew how to connect with the Marines. Didn't matter if it was a lance corporal or the lieutenant that did stupid things. You made things happen. You put them on the correction spot easy. So I appreciate it, sir. General Tulin called me last night, and we talked for like an hour, me and Miss Helen, and it was a great time talking to them. General Lukeman, we changed over to General Tulin at the division. skiing is one thing, but the one thing I do remember, the most important thing I think I remember is your compassion to Marines, sir. You know, we had 2-9 had a mortar incident. We lost 7 Marines and 6 Marines and a sailor. Well, actually, 7 Marines were killed, and then we had 7 wounded, and 7 more wounded. One of those was a sailor. We went to every family. Me, General Lukeman, Tater, and General Whitman went out the other half and saw that we split them up. But we went out and saw all those families and told them what happened. You know, I think that was the right thing to do, and I'm proud to say that I think we did them right, sir. And then we actually got to see them buried in Arlington, sir. So, my honor, sir. And also, your father was my MCRD San Diego commander when he was the general there, sir. Send you that picture. General Boudreaux, it's been an honor, sir. You know, didn't have much time in the division, but you were always there, you know, with the division, now the MEF. You know, you understand what it is to be a Marine. So I wish I had more time to serve with you, and proud to be part of it, sir. General Beidler, I'm going to say it's smoke. I love it, sir. I don't know if you got your call sign for what smoke was, but there's people that are definitely thought smoke meant something different. You held people to a standard that nobody, sometimes other people would turn their eye to. You know, it didn't matter if it was a PFC or a lieutenant colonel. Hey, you told it like it was, and I appreciate that, sir. And your guidance and you always bringing me into everything that was important, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. General Miller was also there. A great friend of mine also. He's in New Orleans. I think Marcella, his wife, convinced me I need to marry my wife today. She actually freaking beat me up to like a pulp. Why are you not marrying her yet? Why are you not going to marry her? I held out for years. You suckered me in, that's all I can say. Again, Sergeant Major, Sergeant Major Metzger, General Alford, thanks a lot. Thanks for having us here today. You know, we first met in Afghanistan. I don't know if you remember that, sir. And I so wanted to be part of your battalion at that point. So I think you had Sergeant Major Johnson. Was it Johnston or Johnson? Yeah. I wish I was there, sir. The 2-6 team. I got Dona, where you at? Probably one of the best platoon sergeants I ever had in combat. I would say the best platoon sergeant I ever had in combat. Sergeant Huber, probably one of the best squad leaders. You'd probably been the best. You might have beat Dona out if you were the platoon sergeant one time. But the reality is freaking 2 great warriors right there. I appreciate it. Gearhart, I don't think I've seen him tonight. Coop, where you at? Even though you're in golf company, you're a freaking machine. If there's a time of war, break out the coop. Hey, I appreciate what you do every day, man. And you're still giving and still serving our forces every day with your company. Was it the Mortals? Mortalis. See, I got to figure it out. I got to come down there and hunt with you all. Downey, Nick, where you at? 2-6 sniper tune. I had a freaking. So I got Downey, Dustin Lee, where you at? There's another one. So he called me up tonight, and I hear him freaking. He's trying to get out of not coming. He drove all the way from Oregon to come here, probably just ride his motorcycle. And as he's getting off the phone, I didn't hang up. He goes, I guess I know where I'm going tonight. But Dustin, thanks for coming. Para, where you at? Another Marine, freaking Marine. Never stopped. A machine. Another sniper guy. Marcanato, Las Vegas cop, right? Reno, sorry. Reno's a lot better than Vegas anyway, probably, right? Doing great things. Thanks for what you do. Another sniper from 2-6. So one of my finest times, I think I showed up at 2-6. I got a guy named James Stivers. I brought down as a chief scout. He's doing great things down in CAG. He's still in. He's a Master Gunnery Sergeant doing great things. But I show up on a Monday. Actually, I check in. Actually, I go on Sunday. I go around the building and I start looking for where the snipers are at. You know, if you're in 1st MARDIV, a sniper platoon all drives freaking big 4-wheel drive trucks. So I was looking for all these big 4-wheel drive trucks. I didn't find any. So I was trying to figure out, okay, where's the sniper platoon? So I had to go to the OD, and he tells me where to go. So Monday morning, I wake him up at like 05. Put him in PT gear. The rooms are trash. They're all freaking disaster. It's a disaster in there. And I get him in PT gear, and we freaking run all the way to the front gate. They hated me. I think they did. I don't know. But in reality, is freaking one of the best platoons I ever had. Well, I only had 2, so you're one of them. So during the Gulf War, I was going to squad leader school. I was in 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines, and I was sent to squad leader school. And we had this gunner named Gunner Bolton. The guy was a machine. I looked up to him like a freaking god. And 2 weeks after I got there, they called everybody back to the battalion. They called everybody back to the battalion, and I never went back to squad leader school. So I was kind of disappointed. I never got to graduate squad leader school. So later in life, I go back to the regiment as a sergeant major, and I see Gunner Bolton is still in the doing stuff with SOI, School of Infantry. And I tell him this story about how I was one of his students and I never graduated. And you know what he did? He made me an honorary certificate of graduation of squad leader school. So ever since then, I love gunners for some reason. But, you know, I'll take this from Colonel Fitzpatrick. What he said during his retirement was, that's the one thing the Marine Corps did right. It made the gunner program. So to my gunners, freaking, I love you guys. So with that being said, Wade, Lassiter, these guys, Cargyle, Knight, JC, thanks for coming. Jesse, you're the man. Freaking thanks for taking care of my freaking, my mortar platoon. Doing great things out there. And then, last but not least, my joint team. You know, Admiral Tidd. Sir, you brought me on board, and so in reality is, I think the first thing I was thinking was, there's no way he's going to select me. So I'm going up against guys like Carlos, Lopez. I'm thinking, these guys all speak Spanish. I don't speak any Spanish. Admiral Tidd never asked that question. Never asked me. He asked me a lot of other questions, but we kicked it off from the start, and we connected also. So thanks for bringing me on board, sir. The Southcom's been a blessing, and then endorsing me with Admiral Fowler and allowing me to continue to serve with Admiral. So I appreciate it, sir. I got to get down. You got to get down to scuba dive, sir. You know, you got the greatest place to go. CZ Lopez, our SEAC, he's the right guy, right time, right job. Our new Command Sergeant Major of U.S. Southern Command, Ben Jones. Hey, you're going to have a great time, my friend. Southcom is a different place. We do a lot of hard missions with with less stuff, basically. We do great things, though. We make things happen that other commands can't do. So continue to do those things. Sean Edwards, Coast Guard. You know, my only coastie, really. I got 3 coasties at U.S. Southern Command now. And between Gitmo, freaking Jada South, and District 7. So, Sean, I appreciate what you're doing every day. You always came up and made things happen at Southcom. You know, especially when it comes to PT, he was a machine. So, Sean, well, thanks for what you did there to Jada South, and continue to grow and do great things, my friend. So two of my guys aren't here. One of them's here, as you were. Sergeant Lopez, who's my EA. So as a Marine, you don't get an EA. But as a Army Garrison, U.S. Southern Command, you get an EA. I didn't even know how to use an EA. So I had three of them. A guy named Sergeant First Class O.J. Ojandes Miranda, he was Mexican, spoke Spanish. When I first got there, he was afraid that I was going to fire him as a Marine. You know, who's this Marine coming in? So one day he comes into the office like the first week. I had another Sergeant Major there, another guy named Sergeant Major Mella, who's my NCO development guy. And matter of fact, you know, he climbed Mount Everest twice. I didn't believe him. I had to Google it. No bullshit. He climbed Mount Everest. I made him the second time. I made him take a picture with the U.S. Southern Command flag up there, and he did. He actually came back with the U.S. Southern Command flag on top of Everest. But they came into my office, and they basically, you know, were freaked out that I was coming there. They said, "Do we have a job?" I said, "Of course you have a job. I don't even know what I'm doing here." So they stick around with me, and then I got, so OJ left, and then I got Sergeant Tovar. Tovar, where you at, my brother? Put your hand up, my man. I probably should have said it in Spanish, but freaking, you're like my illegitimate son. You know that, right? You and Lopez are freaking like, I need you every day. I needed you every day, so thanks for what you did. And then I got to throw in the Osbornes. So where's my Osbornes at? So Ozzy, Bobby, you know. So this guy comes at me after the change of command ceremony, and I'm sitting there, and he makes the introduction. I think Zeisser probably introduced me. Maybe we didn't meet at that time, but he said you were going to reach out to me, and I was very skeptical about who this guy was. He has got the most connections with sergeant majors in all services. So if you get on his list, that's a good thing. So thanks, Ozzy. Friends, you're all my friends. But there's some special ones here that I get it that aren't here today or here that have to be mentioned. Freaking Major Pham, he's over in Kuwait right now. David Pham, great man. He's going to find himself. He's going to get out of the Marine Corps. He's going to do different things. But he was you know, we probably did some Lance Corporal stuff together that we shouldn't have. Lauren and Greg Anderson. Lauren, where you at, Lauren? Greg, thanks for what you do still doing for the MEF. And my new gun dealer, Greg. It's legal. Everything's legal with you, or else we're in trouble. I know. Carla Folan, where you at? Where you at? Miss Folan. She might have left. Anyways, so she did leave? Yeah. So another one of the A's for the boss. Great freaking pale face actual. Cliff's not here tonight. I don't think I've seen him. Matt, thanks for coming. You and Crystal. You've been a great friends to us down here in Florida. Came all the way up from Florida. The Lands, thanks. Dale, Steve, thanks for being who you are, what you do every day. Especially with the 7-5 Fund. I know you worked it hard. I don't know if you're still doing it, but you ran that program like it was nobody else's business. Thanks. Especially when we did need it a lot. Need it. The Carr family, I can't talk about enough of them. They're always there for me. Always. You know, I moved around like 3 times as a division sergeant major. And I finally moved, you know, Tim said, "Hey, I got a place for you." And he helped me go through the, you know, move into that place and do great things. So always been part of the family. Appreciate it. You know, Karen, you, Timmy, and Mary, thanks for what you do and what you do for Marines. I mean, this guy will go out of his way to take care of Marines. Thanks. Admiral Fowler, you know, I can't talk enough about you. Thanks for taking me on for an extra year. You know, I didn't know what I was going to do a year ago, but now I do. now I got all that hunting land in your, between Emerald Tid going scuba diving and you going hunting in Pennsylvania. I got a spot. And, traveling with you and telling stories, telling our story is important. And I appreciate everything you do. You and Martha are great for the command. And continue to have fun, sir. When it's not fun, it's time to get out, sir. And I think you know that when it's going to be that time. Thanks, sir. To my family, the Opsel family. Lori, where you at? There you go. My cousin and her husband Todd and her son, Alec. Alec just graduated from the Air Force Academy. Probably sat in this same uniform and sent him a video because during COVID, he couldn't, they did a graduation, but they did it virtually. I think they're one of the first ones that did the virtual. And proud of you, taking on that uniform and doing great things. Remember to lead from the front, continue to lead from the front, and never stop. And when it gets hard, you gotta get harder. You'll do good, I guarantee it. You have some kind of Zickefoose blood in you, one way, shape, or form. Robert and Carol Smith, they're probably watching virtually. Tasha's parents. Thank you two for inviting me into your family. It's an honor to be part of this family with Tasha. She's been my lifelong dream, I guess you would say. Somebody that really matches with me. It's hard to find somebody that is with you that understands you more than you know yourself, probably. So, thanks, Robert, Carol. My sister Kelly, my accountant. She's taken care of me since the day since the day she ripped all of my stuff off of my dresser. And, I can't talk enough about you. You've always been there for me when I need you. Frank, I still want my 357 back. Just kidding, you can keep it. My mom and her husband, Roger, you're always there for me. I appreciate it. Mom, I know I drove you nuts at times before and after I joined the Marine Corps. And, you went to my graduation, and I'm proud that you were part of that. My dad, wife Nan, you don't know how much I'm like. Some people, they tell me all the time I'm just like you. We look alike, except for I got more hair still. And thanks for what you've done for me. You have been my rock. You formed me when I was young, so I appreciate that. And I'd share a sleeping bag with you anytime. My son just got married, got a job, got 2 jobs now since he's got out of college, doing great things. I'm very proud of you, and your wife Kelsey. You guys are a great match. Where you're going to go next, I don't know, and I'm sure it's going to be the right direction. Take every challenge as you would be a new challenge, as I've taught you, and continue to grow. Never let that stop you from doing anything. My daughter Tia, the most resilient person I've ever met. From playing soccer, she fell down, she'd go right back into the fight. Probably because I was yelling at her, but in reality is, she always freaking was in the fight, no matter what. She never stopped. When school was hard, she got harder. When she was playing, she got harder. She never stopped. She's the most resilient person. She can bounce back from anything, and she's probably more mature than probably 90% of us in here. So I love you, both you and Dakota, with all my heart. To my wife, I don't even know what to say. We have I have to live another 50 years, to make it, right? So in reality is I promised her that we'd have a 50th anniversary. So we got a long time to go. But we're going to have a great time doing it. Every day. And, you're the person that makes me whole. And I can honestly say that, I've been waiting for you for all my life. Thanks for what you've done for for me in taking care of my family. Thanks for who you are and being you. It's important that you always be you. I love you, okay? I already talked too damn long. I think I hit everybody in here. If I didn't, I honestly say that everybody in here has freaking been a great part of my life. The casters, you and Jessica are freaking our machines. We're still gonna go duck hunting, and you need to teach me how to fly fish. Jeff, we're gonna ride some bikes, continue to ride. We got to do the other side of Highway 1, and I'm not your button anymore. Good to go.
Oh, you will be forever and ever.
So with that being said, hey, I want to, I don't know where I'm going to be, but in reality, it's thank you for what you do every day. Chaplain, thanks for the remarks, and I'm proud to say that, hey, I'm a happy person that I'm leaving this force. I got through without freaking whimpering like a baby. It's because I'm happy. I can actually say that I can move on and do something different in my life and be part of it. But hey, my door is always open to any one of you. Any one of you. I consider you friends and family. Me and Tosh, we consider you all family. So with that being said, I guess I'm out of here. Hoorah. I talked too long.
Flowers are now being presented to Sergeant Major Zickefoose's wife Natasha, his daughter Tia, his mother Linda, and his sister Kelly. Sergeant Major Zickefoose has served in combat in both the 1st and 2nd Marine Divisions. To honor his service, we will play both division songs. To honor those who have served in the 1st Marine Division, the division song Waltzing Matilda will be played. The song originates from Australia, where the division maintained a training base in World War II and prepared for the island campaigns. Over the decades, the division's Marines and sailors have marched off to war to this historic tune. We ask that those who served in the division, from World War II to those currently serving in the Blue Diamond today, stand to be recognized. We respectfully request all others remain seated and silent to honor those absent who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and those present who have served in the 1st Marine Division. To honor our Marines and sailors, both past and present, that have served in the 2nd Marine Division, we ask all active duty and veteran members of the division during the playing of the 2nd Marine Division song, Follow Me, to stand and be recognized. This song, etched onto all the hearts of the members of the 2nd Marine Division, has its roots in the bloody struggle for Tarawa Atoll in 1943. It is in remembering this battle that the Marines and sailors standing before you today are reminded of both their service and comrades who made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation's freedom. Following the division song, we ask all guests please rise for the playing of Anchors Aweigh and the Marines hymn. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of Admiral Fowler, thank you for your attendance.